What's up, gamers, and welcome to another No Rest for the Wicked video. This is going to be a beefy one as we're going to dive into multiplayer, inventory management, and so much more. But hotfix number 5 is just around the corner, and it's also looking like it's going to be a beefy one. So we've got a lot to talk about, so let's not waste anybody's time and jump into it. The first thing we should start off with is new inventory management options and making things so much easier. You can see here Thomas tweeting out some footage of what is coming soon to the game. I don't yet know if this is going to be in hotfix 5, but being that he's already teasing the beefiness of that hotfix, I could start to maybe speculate that that actually is a real possibility, along with key bindings and so much more. Now, for me personally, the big update, the big beefy update, is going to be update number 1, where they add in multiplayer. And thankfully, Thomas has been sharing his thoughts and answering our questions over on Twitter, so we're going to dive into that. But before we do, I do want to say thank you guys so much for the support on the videos recently. The last video, you guys knocked it out of the park with a 551 likes, with a 97% like to dislike ratio. But not everybody's going to be happy with how I choose to make my content, so don't be like this douchebag right here. Be like this freaking Chad Subflow, who subbed just to hear me say Stanima. I'm dyslexic, I've got speech issues, so occasionally I'm going to say words that just didn't work, and that's just something that you're kind of signing up for. But if you ever feel like it's too annoying, feel free to jump out, and you can always come back. You don't owe me anything, and that's perfectly fine. I just am trying to make the best content that I can. Now, on that note, though, you can always literally just use the chapter markers in these videos to jump to whatever specific section of the video that you want. It doesn't offend me whatsoever. I do it to hopefully make your enjoyment and viewing experience better. But let's not waste any more time. Thank you for letting me plug my stuff here on that side. All right, so let's talk about the multiplayer. Thomas tweeting out another important question regarding multiplayer, Pizza Slice, which makes me kind of think TMNT Ninja Turtles, because they're sticking with a 4-player maximum on the realm, because their combat system and enemy distribution seems to be the most fun when they keep things smaller. I tend to agree, and I do like the number 4 over 3, and you guys can go weigh in on this poll. I'll include a link in the description to this tweet if you want to go voice your thoughts on the subject. But he goes, how many people do you want to share the realm with in your multiplayer realm? And the poll is looking like 4 players is the winner. That's what I voted for. 1 player and 2 players are different options, meaning 1 player is going to be you and a buddy versus you and 2 buddies and you and 3 buddies. But there's been questions people are asking. I think one of the things that's really important to talk about, cross-play. It is a whole new world that we all live in now. Down came the walls, and if you make a game that can't be played with your friends, no matter what system they're on, chances are you're just making it extra difficult when other games aren't doing it. But Kurt, what's up, Kurt? You're freaking awesome. Says, hi, Thomas. I know that you're busy and all, but I got a question. Will multiplayer be cross-platform? Yes, Thomas excitingly replies. I'm very excited to see that. That means a lot more flexibility when it comes to our enjoyment of the game. Now, Level 1 Artist says, will characters be locked to other realms? Also, how will the story progression work in multiplayer? Could 1 or 2 persons play on the realm while the others are unable? Lastly, friendly fire or PvP? Will either of those happen? Absolutely loving the game either way. So Thomas replies with a massive amount of information. We're going to break it down. Number 1, right now, we're not planning on the locking characters to realms. There's been a major debates about this and about our team, and we still might change this, but we think it should just be allowed. We should just allow global trading and see what happens. I actually agree with this. It's a video game. It's meant to be fun. Yes, people are going to, quote unquote, like take their high level character, come into a low level world and destroy things. But I think you as the player should have that option, right? Being that this isn't a persistent online world like an MMO, I think being able to break the game in unique and interesting ways, I'm all for it. Let me know, guys, what you think about that. There's no wrong answers here. I'm always curious about what you guys think, and who knows, maybe we'll use that as a community discussion in a future video. Number 2, story can be progressed even if you're not there. We're probably going to do a last time on thing, so that way you get updated on when it happened and what happened on your realm while you're away. Again, lots of debates happen around this subject, and ultimately we think that it's best to let the players decide. Ideally, we want the multiplayer realms to feel like a bit like playing D&D, and when a new story update drops, folks should party up and play it together, same way people partied up to watch the new episode of Game of Thrones back when it was great. Number 3, friendly fire will be on by default. Now, it kind of makes me think that maybe you can set that setting in your multiplayer world. We tried without friendly fire, and 4 players just wailing on a mob endlessly. It's just not fun. We want players to be having careful and play tactically. PvP will be a part of the multiplayer update. At first, you'll be able to play against other players within our arenas. Invasions are something we're still thinking about. And number 5, if we detect people are cheating, you'll get flagged and only matched up with other players who cheated. Another question coming in from Atlas here. I noticed there are 3 houses in Sacrament for purchase. I was wondering, will houses be shared between players, or is each player going to have their own personal space? Thomas clarifies, there will be more player housing, and yes, they will be shared. First come, first serve, so you better snatch up the prime real estate while the getting's good. Silicon Dream says, will there be some kind of ranked PvP systems? And Thomas says, yep. I think that we all want to know who the top 10 most wicked players in the world are. And I agree. I like leaderboards. You can let me know what you think about that. Anyway, Dude tweets out, if friendly fire is always on, isn't the entire world by definition a huge PvP arena? And Thomas says no, because even though friendly fire is on, damage gets reduced a lot in the overworld so that you are discouraged from just mobbing everything down. But don't constantly kill your buddies. Now, if anybody out there is a Helldivers player, I've seen people wish that Helldivers didn't have friendly fire. I actually appreciate it, right? It does change your approach. This isn't a button mashing skill, you just try to throw all your skills. You're not really thinking about it. That's more, and there's nothing wrong with those kind of games, right? People sometimes give me crap because like I enjoyed my initial playthrough and the time that I spent with Diablo 4. I'm a guy who loves video games. I'm like, if I'm not having fun, I just move on. I stop complaining about it. I don't know. The complaint for attention meta on social media, I think we're all tired of it, but it is addictive, right? There is that dopamine hit that we get from either, camaraderie or defense. I don't know. It is what it is. Anyway, I think that is something that I'm excited to see. And again, when it comes down to it, if the devs envision that players can choose to turn it on and off, I think that's more than fine. I'm not going to push back against that, but I'm kind of glad to see that that's something that's going to be in here because the game is so tactically based in the combat. And yes, having 4 players would make it feel, a little bit different. Multiplayer changes how games are played. If you just look at Resident Evil 5, for example, they added a multiplayer and all of a sudden the game there wasn't any jump scares, or something like that. So having a buddy ends up making things, I think, way more enjoyable, but you guys can let me know. He also went to clarify, and I apologize, I don't actually have the statement from him, but they're thinking about keeping the worlds like always on, meaning if you create a multiplayer realm, it isn't tied to your Xbox or PC. It literally lives in the cloud so anybody can connect into it and play. I mean, when I say anybody, I'm assuming that there's going to be some restrictions on who this realm is for, what characters are allowed on it, and then there you go. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out in the long run. I'll be sure to be covering it with guides and more here on the channel with that. Now, a couple other updates coming from Thomas. That was the multiplayer section of this video, but Thomas does confirm 32x9 is coming. If you guys have seen some of the gameplay footage, you'll note that some of the stuff seems cut off, and it's because I'm playing in their version of ultra wide, but this is ultra wide, and I do have one of these kind of monitors, which is really wonderful. So I'm happy to see 32x9 is coming. So I'm going to be playing a lot of the game in that aspect ratio. Anyway, Thomas goes on to say, there's a video swirling around that shows some 225 weapons in Wicked. We had a bit of a hoopla in this and the content was held back, but it still made it into the release of the build. So let's just use this as an opportunity to clarify things. Now, right now, they shipped Early Access 1 with 100 weapons. They worked their butt off to get these in for Early Access release, but obviously we have a lot more in the pipe, and even considering the 225, we're lacking some weapon archetypes that we'd love to still add. Now, every weapon we add in our catalog needs to get my stamp of approval, and we want all weapons to have something or somewhat unique playstyle and come with a unique rune or special rune. Ultimately, adding in a weapon in Wicked is similar to adding in a new character to fight a game. We like to focus in on the quality over quantity, and it will be easy for us just to add more modes. But I think that we're all better served if every weapon we implement allows players to play Wicked in somewhat different kind of way. So please be patient. We're working hard to get all of these ready to go. So lots more content coming for this game, which I am all in on. This has been one of the greatest experiences that I've had within games, not just to play the game and just not wanting to set it down, but also to have the time and the availability to kind of get into it right now, which I'm very, very thankful for. Now, all that being said, let's let's jump into our community question and discussion. Geese Muffin, hopefully I said that correctly, we'll find out, says the game looks cool and all, but are we still going to just allow these companies to develop a game for 6 years, would then be missing completely standard features like key rebinding? I get they are pacing and patching it fast, but that any other game under fire and having mixed reviews on Steam, I'm not ever really worried about reviews, because a fun game is a fun game. And regardless of what IGN or Steam or people say about it, if the game's really fun, people are going to want to play it. It's the one thing that I guess joins us all in this ecosystem. Yes, there might be people who see kind of a mixed review and they're like, well, I'm not going to check it out. But then there's people who are playing it, and within marketing and ads, when they start actually spending money on like advertising the game, etc., you get people to go back and kind of reconsider. So I'm never really worried about that personally. I find that early access is a tool, and it should be used in the proper context, right? They clearly have a vision. They are clearly working. They've already delivered, I think, a quality product in this current version. But that's not to say it can't get better. And so I get that there are gamers out there who want that complete experience, and they're feeling the pressure because they're not able to play it. And, they're watching a video like this and they're like, oh, I want to play it, but they're just not built for the problems that early access can bring. For me, I think there's just a lot of value. Thomas talked about the amount of value that they have, and he defended the choice for going into early access because it allows them to have real data, real telemetry about what the players want, what we're enjoying, and so much more. And you learn so much from it. And this gives them the ability to do something both unique and at the same time somewhat similar, right? Like an ARPG, you immediately understand that. Souls-like, you immediately understand that. What do those two things look like together in an isometric world? How does this work with the combat? Is this a Diablo kind of clone? And I would say no, so in this regards, yeah. Are we going to just allow these companies to develop? Yeah, what are you going to do? I mean, you're welcome to not spend your money, but gaming is way bigger than any one gamer's objection. And I think that's honestly a good thing. But it is the internet. People are going to complain about anything that they want so they can get the attention that they crave. And, there's nothing I can do about that either. So what am I going to do about it? I'm just going to play games and have fun, enjoy life, love my kids, and try to be the best dad that I can, and try to be the best gamer that I can. I think that's all anybody can ever think to do. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for your time today. This has been Brian for Ginger Prime. I wish you guys all the very best. Thank you, and welcome to all the new subscribers here at the channel. And hopefully, guys, I will see you all in the next video. Who knows when that would be? Hotfix 5 could drop today. Maybe we'll do a follow-up video if that's the case. But anyway, guys, peace, love, and take care.